Hello, I'm Stephen Childs of virtualvoicelessons.net, and I would like to welcome you to our first lesson in our vocal performance series entitled Vocal Performance in Sickness and in Health, Part 1. Many years ago, I saw a wonderful seminar given by one of the very best contemporary voice coaches of the day, Chris Beatty. Chris was speaking on the subject of vocal performance, and there was a quote that he used that I never forgot and have been using to this very day. It's known as the 5 Ps. Now, although I've heard many variations of the 5 Ps since then, the concept behind them all remain the same, and that is proper preparation prevents poor performance. This quaint little statement really does say it all when it comes to giving our very best in any performance situation. To prepare ahead of time really is the answer to achieving our performance goals and really should be common sense, but unfortunately, it is one of those things that is often overlooked. Many times throughout the years as a vocal trainer, I would often receive frantic phone calls from someone who has met someone who helped them get a meeting with a record producer and now desperately wants to receive vocal training for their big debut, only to find out that the meeting is scheduled a week from the initial phone call. This is obviously not proper preparation. And I must say that this is not you. You yourself are applying the principle of proper preparation by taking these voice lessons. But sometimes a lack of preparation is not so obvious. For instance, did you know we can and should actually prepare the voice minutes before a show? This, of course, is what we refer to as warming up. But how do we warm the voice up while at a performance with everyone standing around? What about when we feel that we're getting sick? Are there ways in which we can reduce or even eliminate the effects of sickness on the voice before a show? These are some of the questions that we will be addressing today, as well as upcoming lessons, as we learn all the different ways of properly preparing our voices in order to prevent a poor performance. Now, warming up is a phrase that we have heard applied to many physical activities in our lives, from warming up at the gym before we do a strenuous workout, to a runner warming up before a big race. In either case, warming up is something that is always done before a physical event, and that includes singing. But what exactly is warming up? Well, here again, the name says it all. When we warm up, we are literally warming the muscles, which are allowing better blood flow to the muscles, therefore bringing more oxygen to them for needed energy. Without this blood flow, the muscles are sluggish and unresponsive. Imagine for a moment that you are a marathon runner and you have a huge race to win this afternoon. Now imagine that right before the race, you quickly step into a freezer for a few minutes. Do you think that your muscles would respond well after this? And that you would run as fast as you would if you did not spend time in that freezer? Obviously not. You would be stiff as a board. Yeah, this is something that we do even with our cars on cold winter mornings. We often are reminded that it is bad practice to drive a car when it is still dead cold, as the flow of vital fluids such as oil is greatly inhibited and can lead to fewer years of engine life. It is always said to be beneficial to let the car sit for a moment and literally be allowed to warm up. Now, for us as singers, the possibilities for correctly warming the voice up are limitless. Really, any light singing will suffice. The trick is to warm the voice up, not actually take it so far as to be exercising the voice. Revving a car's engine in the driveway over and over, for instance, is not warming it up. It's heating it up. And it is just as bad for the engine as driving away cold. In other words, we can't speed up the warming process. So light singing in the form of humming seems to work best and is universally accepted to be the most beneficial way to warm the voice up. Now, there are actually two types of hums that we will employ, and they are closed mouth hums and open mouth hums. Let's begin with the hum that we are all familiar with, the closed mouth hum. All of us at one point or another have hummed either along to a song when we are trying not to be directly heard, or as part of the actual song itself, where there is a hum written into the melody line. But what we usually don't realize is that humming is actually one of our English consonants, which are M's. Every time we sing or say an you are actually humming for a brief moment. And this is how we need to view our hums, this natural and this gentle. Now, the benefits of humming are numerous. First of all, if you hum correctly, you should feel a vibration in the lips themselves that sometimes vibrates so strong that it actually tickles the lips, sometimes to the point where we almost need to stop. But don't worry, that will pass. In actuality, the tickle is very necessary, as it is encouraging blood flow into the facial muscles as well as the lips. You would be surprised at how difficult we make singing when the face and lips themselves are stiff. So what I recommend is to actually aim the voice forward into the front of the face as much as possible when performing a closed mouth hum. In other words, you want to concentrate the sound in the frontal area around the lips. After we perform our hums over the course of a few minutes in this manner, you'll notice that the lips and surrounding facial areas will be tingling. And this is the blood flow response that we're looking for. Now, although humming is one of the easiest vocal sounds we can make, there are a couple of suggestions that I'm going to lay out for you in order to get the most out of your humming warm-ups. First of all, we want to start with very low notes. The lower the note, the slower the vibrations, and the more impact they will have as a muscle relaxer. Vocalizing the hum on too high of a pitch is like putting a back massager on the fastest speed possible. When we do that, it is vibrating so quick that you really don't feel too much. So for us as singers, low means slow. Now, we can start off with long-held single tones, but after some time we want to start sliding them up into our higher range to warm up and loosen the muscles of the larynx itself. What we want to do is actually slide up into our falsetto voice.
Now we're going to do a sliding exercise that we use actually to warm the voice up, but it's also a great way to discover your mezzo falso voice. We're going to go from a low note and actually just slide right into the next voice, which again is mezzo falso. It's going to sound like this. And so I tried to do it as smooth as I could, trying to represent like a bell curve. Let's try it again.
You can do this a few times until the break point between the two registers is smooth. This area is known as the passaggio, or passage, and is crucial in fully warming up the voice as a whole. I recommend that you start off with a slide into your falsetto voice and then slide back down again. The beauty of humming is that you need not worry about cracking as you would with regular singing. With a hum, the pressure is not quite the same as is with regular singing, and therefore the cracks are not only less heard, but are also less traumatizing to the vocal folds. So crack away. Let it gloss over those rough spots. As long as you do it softly, you will not have to worry about hurting yourself. Now, the thought of an open mouth hum may seem like a contradiction in terms, but the fact is that we really do have the ability to perform a hum with our mouths wide open. In fact, it is yet another consonant found in English. It is the consonant ng, which is found in words such as tongue, or oddly enough, the word sing. Now, there are several benefits in utilizing an open mouth hum over a regular hum. First of all, the open mouth hum is more similar to actual singing because the mouth is open as compared to the closed mouth used for a regular hum. And I strongly recommend that you pay attention to your mouth opening with this hum. Remember that it is the jaw that is dropped open, not the sides of the mouth that are spreading apart. Keeping the jaw open will become a huge challenge at first, as the mouth desperately wants to start closing as soon as your mind drifts. So pay attention to this important detail. Another huge benefit of warming up with an open mouth hum has to do with your throat opening. Often, I will have a student who is struggling with relaxing his or her throat during singing. So we will start using the open mouth hum during a 5-tone major scale to help discover the feeling of dropping the throat open. And the reason is this. When we are using the open mouth hum, the back of the tongue is fully elevated, closing off the glottis of the throat, causing it to be completely nasal. When we use this hum for a few minutes and then suddenly go to say the ah vowel, the throat will often drop open in a relaxed position better than ever. It's like as if I asked you to fully relax the muscles of your arm. The best way to do this is to first flex the muscles of the arm as tight as you can. When you finally let go, the muscles completely relax. Sometimes in voice training, we do the opposite in order to achieve our initial goals. Although the tongue is completely covering the back of the throat, causing 100% nasality, when we let go and start regular singing, the voice almost always goes into 100% unnasal, relaxed state. So again, the open mouth hum is a great way to discover the feeling of relaxing the back of the throat and tongue. Once you have the feeling, take a mental snapshot and apply it to all singing. Now, unlike the closed mouth hum, we do not want to concentrate the sound forward into the face, causing those facial muscles to loosen. That is the role of the closed mouth hum. It is a facial massager. The open mouth hum is used more as a way to gently warm up and loosen the muscles of the throat, but does it in a natural mouth position that more closely resembles natural singing. One feature that we must also maintain that is also found in our natural contemporary vocal style is projecting the voice of the open mouth hum onto the back of the hard palate. Although it is true that the open mouth is 100% nasal, the sound itself does not need to be concentrated in the nose. The reason that this hum is nasal is because the back of the tongue is blocking the sound from leaving the mouth. So therefore, it escapes out the next opening, which is the nose. But where we are focusing the applied resonance of that sound is the issue here. We want to still aim the voice towards the back of the hard palate while performing the open mouth hum. Let me demonstrate this for you.
Now I'm going to demonstrate that we can in fact aim the voice in different locations in the mouth doing the open mouth hum, even though the open mouth hum itself is completely nasal. As you can hear, all the sound is coming out my nose. But watch, I don't have to concentrate the sound into the nose. I'll start off with it concentrated in my nose and then pull it back. And I might go back and forth. Let's take a listen. What we want to do the whole time while we're doing this is to aim this sound towards the back of the hard palate.
I often use the open mouth hum to clearly show that we truly do aim sound within the mouth, as you have just heard as well. But doing this with the open mouth hum is quite difficult, as your tongue will want to separate from the glottis of the throat. So, try your best to keep the mouth open. in the voice towards the back of the hard palate and do not allow the tongue to separate from the glottis. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this lesson, we can and should be warming up the voice as close to performance as we can. This is where humming comes into play. The beauty behind hums is that they are very, very quiet. If you simply hum the melodies of your songs with full volume, not only will you be warming your voice up in a very gentle manner, but also no one will ever know that you're doing it. Just find an area somewhere away from people. Turn your back to them and let it rip. Even walking amongst a crowded room with music playing in the background offers us an opportunity to warm up. The closed mouth hum here would look like you're doing nothing. But in actuality, you could be humming along in full voice to the melody of the background music. Make sure you hit the falsetto voice as well. You may have to hum an octave higher or lower than the actual melody in order to hit your entire range. You may also want to do your slides from low to high and then low to high and low again. This will still be hidden nicely underneath background music. And remember, even though you are singing in full volume within your head, to the outside world, all they will hear is basically nothing. In upcoming lessons, we'll be learning about other means of warming the voice up, such as lip trills and body stretches, as well as what to do to help us in times of sickness. But the technique of humming is one of the very best ways to warm the voice up without fear of cracking, straining, or even being heard. So before we end today, I would like to once again stress the importance of the 5 Ps, which of course is proper preparation prevents poor performance. If we do simple things like warming the voice up before practice as well as before our shows, we are in fact properly preparing the voice ahead of time, which in turn will guarantee our ability to deliver our best performances. I am Stephen Childs of virtualvoicelessons.net, and I would like to say thank you so much for listening, and God bless.